And we're live from the res. It's your boy Raul Chrisman here, and in the house, Mr. Andre J. Dominguez.
And we are here with two dark natives representing Kumeyaay Nation.
Deep in the shadows. Hey man, I like that sweatshirt. Gathering of Nations.
Gathering of Nations, Albuquerque, man. We went this April. I got this sweater. Ain't gonna lie, it was a lot of money.
But hey, I'm going to get the same sweatshirt in 2 years there for half price.
And we're all going to rock them, right? We're going to look like a gang, Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's always a good time. I know for me, Gathering of Nations, it's always the weekend of my son's birthday. The first year I really was going to think about going, it was the year that my son was born, and my family all had a cool trip planned. We're putting it all together, and then we were looking at like due dates, and that time came around, I was like, oh man, and we ended up not even going. So he was born on the 27th, my oldest son. Shout out to RJ. But yeah, it kind of killed that trip. And then the next year we talked about going, but I was like, no, I'm gonna have a birthday party for my son, and then it just turned into kind of like we never went.
Yeah, birthdays.
So, yeah, it was his birthday weekend. So as my kids got older, and then these last couple of years, I was kind of like, hey, we should, celebrate your birthday out in Gathering, maybe go scope it out again. And, at that time it just had moved from the pit to the Tigley Coliseum. And, there are fairgrounds there. And, I used to always hear that the pit was so packed, and, you'd hear really good things, but you'd always hear some like kind of horror stories about like it being too packed, and like you put your blanket down and someone's gonna move it and they'll take your Pendleton, all this craziness. And so it seemed like when it moved, you didn't hear none of that stuff. So I guess I missed all that craziness.
Yeah, I think I don't remember it too well because I was pretty young the first time I ever went, but I do remember it being super packed. And then
that was at the pit.
Yeah, that was at the pit.
How old were you, man, when you went out?
Man, I was pretty young, so I wasn't in high school. I think I was like 13, 14 when I was in high school, so I had to have been like 12 or something like that.
That must have been crazy. You're coming from like SY.
And we never traveled anywhere. I don't think I ever went I don't think the furthest we went was like Mexico, but that was just across the border.
Yeah, but that's more rural.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. More rural. There wasn't that many, and there's it's just another tribe down there. And other than that, I think maybe I went to like Arizona once in my life before then. So, but our youth program, they fundraise. Shout out to I don't even know who was working at that time, but they raised a bunch of money, and there was a bunch of us kids, and we all went out there. We seen. Actually, I've seen him before when I was younger, but Lightfoot was there. He performed there.
Oh, Indian in the cover.
Yeah, Indian in the cover. But he had I don't know why, now that I think about it, because we're pretty far. But, man, he went to our gym. He performed there when I was younger.
You know what? I kind of remember that because my sister-in-law, she was young, like a teenager maybe, and she had this brand new jacket she bought at the powwow, and she had him right on the back. He just wrote like Lightfoot and big writings. And she showed me, and I was like, dude, that dude just ruined your jacket. She's like, yeah, right, and Lightfoot signed that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
he's doing his thing.
But he was there at the gathering, the first time I went. But man, the first time I ever seen a bald eagle close up.
Oh, did they have a flying in there at that time?
No, they flying.
I heard they did that.
They might have
fly in the arena.
They might have. They definitely did. Yeah. But I took a picture by it. It was me and one of the kids from there, Alec. He was there, and I still have that picture actually. But we were right next to it. But that was there at the Gathering of Nations. Man, that was a long time ago. But that was my first time there.
You don't just have the eagle fly up on your arm? You're not that traditional?
Not that traditional. Not yet.
I don't know if you ever watched, but when I was a little kid, he used to have the old school G.I. Joe, and there was one Indian dude on there, and it was still kind of stereotypical, but when you're a kid, you're looking for anything with native, And this dude was I think his name was Scout, but his because on G.I. Joe they had to do that. It was a good marksman. He got real strong. Had Sergeant Slaughter and all, but with the mustache, but Scout I think it was his name. But he had an eagle. And the eagle would fly out and kind of scope, and then it would come back and land on his arm.
Scout.
Yeah, and I used to think that guy was cool as heck, but he looked so stereotypical, like the tall moccasins with the fringe on top, the Apache look, and the bandana, and it was like
John Redcorn.
yeah, that whole look going. But I just remember that with the eagle.
But Gathering Nation. We were there in April. It was a good time, man. I had a good time. I drove out with my uncle Obviously, we met up with you guys, but we a lot of people fly in there. I mean, obviously, it'd probably be easier to fly in, just get in, get out. But we drove right after my work, actually his work, like 10:30 at night, and we just drove straight there, all one trip. I drove most of the way. I'll put that in there, Boogie.
Well, we were gonna leave like in the early morning. What I thought it was like we'll leave early in the morning, and then we were gonna meet up with some Quitsans and you kind of cruise out together, caravan, and maybe see some sights on the way, and we kind of did that, but. Well, I was at work and my lady calls, hey, why don't we just go out tonight? We'll travel all night. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I was kind of excited to go. Yeah, let's just do that. So, a couple of our cars came together and we all caravan that. We left at like, we originally left at like, we're going to leave at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, evening. And then, of course, shout out to the Saquon Powwow Princess Cakes. She forgot some of her regalia back in her pad, and it's like, all right. So I told her mom, don't worry about it.
Away, man.
Yeah, dude. We're like, you know what? We'll meet out in the desert, in El Centro. We'll make it out. So we're like, I'm going like, well, they're gonna have to drive an hour back home, and then they're gonna have to drive to the desert. So like, we got an hour and a half. Yeah, it was like almost a 2-hour head start on those guys. And so I told my wife, I said, let's just take some rest and we'll get. So we got everything situated, which is good because we probably would have forgot a couple things. But it gave me a chance to go see my dad, my mom, and we went over and we had the boys with us. So, we went over and sang some songs to my dad, and he's still, recuperating from a stroke and everything, but he can play his gourd real well and he can sing. His speech is not 100%, but his singing's still good, which is really cool. So we sang with him, some songs, and then he gifted me a gourd for the travel, which I wasn't expecting, and that was a really cool moment. And so I would have missed that. So sometimes, hey, things happen for a reason. And sometimes things happen for a real good reason. So he gifted me that gourd. I had my son, RJ, sing with it out there. And it was really cool. It was a good moment. And, and hugged my mom. And, we got to hang out with them. And then we went out and met those guys out there. We're just like, hey, by the time we got out there, it was like, I'll see you in and out. El Centro. We got to get something to eat, man. And then we drove all the way through too. We stopped in like Fort McDowell out there and through Holbrook and got some sleep and met up with some Quitsans, like I was saying, and some Cookpaw, and we all went rolling into Albuquerque. Gathering of Nations 2019.
2019, man. I'll tell you right now, I think we took 2 stops just to fill up with gas.
You guys are gnarly.
Dude, I was cruising.
It was bad. You guys got the bottles? You like pee in the bottle technique, or you just?
I just didn't have to go to the bathroom. I mean, it was nighttime too, so I think your body's kind of acclimated to that kind of stuff. But man, I'll tell you a real quick story. Is I was hauling. Actually, we had a rental car, so it was nice. It was like a brand new 2019 Chrysler, I think, or something. I don't know.
You know what kind of car it was. It was smooth. It was smooth as heck, man. We were looking good.
That thing zoomed, man. I was going, I ain't gonna lie, I was flying. I was going like 120, 130. I was hitting it.
I bet.
And then
you don't realize it in that car though, right?
No, not in that car. It's so smooth. Like I swear it has it's so nice and it's easy to drive. But out here in California, you know what the cops look like, right? Everybody knows what the cops look like, and I didn't really realize this, that maybe not every state, but most of the states, and maybe they have different cops looking, their vehicles. But I was just cruising, and then I was coming up on this car. Most of the cars were kind of just letting me go. I wasn't riding them. They just kind of see me coming and they'd just move over.
You probably thought you were a cop.
Maybe. But I was driving, I was coming up, and just normal, and then I seen the car pull over, and then pull to the side. Well, didn't really pull over because we're on the freeway. And then I kind of noticed, I kind of looked, and I pulled 120 up on a cop.
Ooh.
I was hauling on it, and I went right on it, and they pulled over, and he zipped right back on, right behind me. I was like, oh, so I didn't slam on the brakes, obviously, but you
definitely let go of the gas.
Definitely let go of the gas. I put that thing on cruise control, and I was like, I'm not getting the ticket out here. But yeah.
And then you used up every prayer for your journey.
Oh,
people were like, prayers for a good journey. It all went right there.
That was right there.
You used him up right in that moment.
And then, but yeah, we got there, nice and safe. We got to our hotel, I think around like 9 in the morning, got settled in.
All I know is I woke up and I was like, because we got in super late and I woke up kind of early and I looked at my phone and you're like, hey, we're here and got all the breakfast. And I'm like, dang, that looks so good.
Dude, we were not trying to eat though. We were not trying to eat.
So good.
I mean, luckily we were able to get in when we were able to get in, but check-in wasn't until super late, so we kind of like waited a little bit. We're like, I guess we'll eat. We were obviously tired, so it was like, we're trying to go to bed, get at least a couple hours in. But it was nice. I mean, we were able to get in by the time you guys got there, we're all situated.
That part of the trip, like for me when I first went, I've been to Albuquerque a few times, but usually driving through. But last year was like the first year I kind of really looked around. And then this year, we were driving around. Yeah. Cruise the car a little bit, just a little bit. But it was like, I was kind of tripped out. Like, you think of Albuquerque as kind of like a really nice city. And like, it just seems like in photography and everything, it's like a really clean and nice, upscale kind of city. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it was that when I was there. I was like, this place is kind of ghetto, man. I mean, there was like a lot of homeless people and people walking around. Last year more so than this year.
Yeah, last year for sure.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the Capsy drivers, but he was saying, a lot of the times it's because, like, I guess they got great weather out there.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
Makes sense.
He said, that's what I was like, man, is it hot out there? I'm like, look, it kind of looks like a desert,
Yeah.
I just assume, so I'm like, is it just hot out here? He's like, nah, man, it's nice all the time. When we were out there, it was like perfect weather.
Yeah.
When we were out there this last April.
So, what about going back home on the trek home, man? Would you compare it to the trek there?
The back home. I mean, coming back was easy.
Yeah.
It was nice. Me and my uncle were talking about it. It felt like it was a lot quicker. Same thing. We didn't take any stops. We just went home. It was the end of the weekend. I got work the next day. He did also. So we're like, hey, let's just get home real quick.
So would you recommend flying or would you like to drive?
I like to drive. I like to drive, and he liked to drive also because obviously, when you fly over things, I've flown all the way to Florida one time. That's the first I've been, Florida. But we just take like one little stop, but you can't see anything. But driving there, you definitely see all. For me, when I first started driving east, I haven't driven anything past Albuquerque, but I remember just going into Arizona, just seeing these sand dunes, seeing the red rocks, red formations, all that stuff. Like I was just in awe, and I was like, man, this stuff is so beautiful. And my uncle has never been past that either, driving that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's never been that
wow.
way. He said he's been out. Obviously he's been out, but he's only flown.
Yeah, that's a whole different experience.
Different experience.
Yeah.
Seeing, and I was telling you because we threw Flagstaff, things like that, and it's just beautiful terrain out there.
Yeah, I think so too. For me, like I'm sure, like you or your cousin or your uncle, my cousin, and you probably have the same feeling that I get. Is that when you get out there like that on the road, it's really therapeutic. You leave all that stress behind, you leave all that work behind, and you're just kind of out there on the road.
Yeah,
and just kind of like even at night, you're just like, wow, this is different, and seeing new things is really good for your. It's good for your mentality. I think it's good kind of like for your soul almost. Like you can feel yourself kind of detached from all the stress back home.
Yeah, it definitely.
I know when you get way out there, you really feel that the air seems really light and the sky, like during the day, the sky just seems huge, it just looks so large out there and it just feels so like refreshing. For us, we took that group, we had, I had all the kids riding with me. You guys don't want to drive them all the kids. But I had all the kids, my wife and I, and some of us adults there, we were caravanning out with a couple of vans and we had a bunch of youth with us and stuff. And we had a good journey too, and actually the kids, man, they really hung in there because you usually get a kid in a car 4 or 5 hours and they're like, oh my God. No, these dudes weren't complaining. They enjoyed the journey. It seemed like they were looking around. And coming back, I think was really cool. We really stretched it out, maybe a little too far with what we saw, but, we went through Zuni territory. We saw the sites there. We saw some of the national monuments out there, which are the parks, which is really beautiful area. Took some pictures. And then we had the opportunity to go through Apache country. And we went and saw Fort Apache. And, it's a historic spot. And kids, they got kind of creeped out. They're like, I don't know. But then we went down through White River and then White Mountain, and out that way. And I was able to go see my mom's sister, my aunt, who lives out there in Cibecue. Shout out to Cibecue, family out there. And, yeah, I got to see them and my Uncle Glenn. And I don't get to see those guys very often. So
yeah.
I was driving and I called my wife and I said, hey, dude, we got to go to Cibecue. And she's like, okay. So we just went up, it had some time to the trip, but I thought it was cool for our kids because they know San Isabel Res. That's where a lot of them are from. Some of them are from La Jolla that went with us, and then obviously Viejas, and so we have a lot of in Verona. We have kids from our region,
Yeah.
and they know that res life. But I always tell people like your res in your region is a lot different than probably the next res over.
Yeah.
And it's probably a lot, and it is. It's very different than reses in Arizona or in the Dakotas or in Canada. There are reserves up there. And people don't realize this. Also, there's reservations in Mexico. We have family there, so we know that. But people haven't been there. And it's kind of cool when you go to somewhere like Supay in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and then you go to like La Huerta down in by Ensenada in Mexico, and they're like, it's like the same place, man.
Same
like,
place,
dude.
man. It's crazy.
And then the culture is very similar. The language, the houses look like. You're just like, wow, man, it's really cool. But I wanted them to see those reservations, and I think they got a lot out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a cool part of the journey. What wasn't cool was getting home at like 4 a.m. But I was up to drive, so I said it's cool, and everything went well with that. So my question: what are some looking back? What are some of the highlights, man? What do you remember now looking back?
Of the Gathering of Nations, yeah. So the gathering itself, so we were there to obviously, check out the powwow and everything, but also to sing there. So that was like one of the biggest things for me is, for my family, you're my family, but I'm saying like my immediate family, my brother, my mother and things like that. I'm the first one out there to go out there and sing with them, to sing out there. And it's kind of it's definitely like a big deal for me, because eventually I want to teach my my nephews, I want to teach my kids, when I do have kids. So just all these different opportunities. So being out there to sing and to represent, my family, my tribe, San Isabel, and then just the Kumeyaay Nation in general. Being a body out there, and I'm not saying I'm going out there, hey, I'm the Kumeyaay. No, but just being somebody there from that tribe to represent what we do out here in California is that's bird singing. So that was a great opportunity, just being able to see all these tribes from all these different places, all the way from the Seminoles down in Florida, on up, and, to New York and everybody in between. Yeah.
I felt like this year the Apaches were really on spotlight too. They were crowd dancing in the center of the arena inside, and then at one point she must have had like her whole res or something.
It was insane.
She must have took buses with her family, but it was just the whole arena was just surrounded by people doing their social dance, their Apache social dance, and they were singing their songs, and the crowd dancers were going. It was live, right? I was actually right there on the floor. Inside. I was there, and I went into to see her go out. My grandfather's Apache from Sibique, as I was saying, and I have family out that way. So I don't know her or her family or nothing, but I did feel a little pride there. I was like, that's cool. I'm part of Apache too, and she represented the nation well, and really all of us Indian people well. Yeah. She was an ambassador traveling throughout the country and really the world. So I kind of wanted to get into some of the vibe. I was on the outside, I saw on the big screen. I told my daughter, and last year we went, and she was Little Miss Kumeyaay. And she got to do the grand entry and participate and all like that. And, it was a special moment because my mom flew in and got to see her out there like that. So I had her this year, and she didn't have a crown on. But I think she kind of enjoyed that. It wasn't so much work. But I wanted her to kind of like get the vibe of like, hey, let's go down and see, the outgoing Miss Indian world. Yeah. And kind of get in some of that vibe. So we did. We went down there and we participated in the dance a little bit. And I remember some of that from when I was young. And I don't know, it was just really cool. It was just a good moment with my daughter for her to see that. I wish I had my other daughter with me too, but she was with her cousins at the time. But then we went up, found my wife, and it's crazy. There's a lot of people there. We have all the kids on buddy systems, 3 to a group, keep eye on each other, being here an adult, everything, It really isn't, but by the adults, it's really a task to take good, youth there. But it's worthwhile. And we went up and we watched the crowning of the incoming Miss Indian World. Congrats to her, but it was just a great vibe. I thought I had a great vibe there.
Yeah, I know. When you're talking about the Apache, she was leaving. So I was there at the big screen because there was still line. Everyone was trying to get in.
Hey, the line to see the crowning was larger than the line to see grand entry.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that. I was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Grand entry's over. What's the line for?" And they were like, "Oh, it's for the crowning."
Yeah, people were trying to get in.
That place was packed.
Yeah, so I just ended up just staying outside watching it from the screen. Yeah. I was like, man, there's too many people trying to get in. But I think that's a fantastic thing, having all these natives and all these people, and everybody says, there's different ethnicities, but it's always good to have that representation.
And like I always hear people say about Crow Fair, about Denver March, like these larger, like gatherings. Like it's weird to walk in, and especially like from somebody, say from San Diego or LA, or if you're an urban Indian, especially, I imagine it's like to go somewhere and just see that many native people.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude! You go down to the store, to the gas station, there's natives. You go to Wally World, there's always natives. But no, you go to a supermarket, and there's like natives all up in there. And it's like, holy crap, man. So I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. So that on top of that, there's, like you said, there's people go to Walmart, all these different areas outside of Albuquerque. We went to like a club show in Albuquerque, and I told my uncle and my cousin, because we all three went it. It's like, man, like you'll never, like for us in San Diego, you'll never go to a club that's just nothing but natives. It's the most insane thing ever.
And it'd be peaceful too, for the most part, right?
Peaceful. And it's just like this vibe that every lyric that they're singing or anything, it's about us and the people, and it's very powerful. And to see that and to have that outlet for other people who are performers to get that stage,
and then the diversity of performance too, right?
Yeah.
For me, I was really taken back by the Stage 49. They had different cultural groups, and then of course they had like rockers. They had Antoine Edwards. He brought the show down this year. I mean, everybody's like, who are these? What's going on over there, man? Are they scalping with somebody? No, thought they were doing a reenactment or something. But no, they're just screaming all through. And I look up and it's Antoine Edwards Jr., and he's up there doing his thing. And all the young ladies love it. And honestly, dude, that guy sings good. And I like how he kind of synthesizes the new sound of the roundies in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And he sounds good, man. And it was really cool to see native people promoting a native artist like that. And so, young native artists, if you're out there trying to think, how do I get promotion? How do I, build my name up? Don't forget to look at your on your res, get res famous. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't forget to reach back to your natives and go to events like that, I imagine, and get that real good, production of yourself.
I think it was Gary Vee who said something along those lines that, you want to conquer the world, but you haven't even conquered where you live.
Right.
If you are those upcoming artists, obviously, do what you got to do at your home, and then branch out, go to these different little spots, get your name out there. And I think that's, especially for Stage 49, Gathering of Nations, that type of stuff. It obviously gave us an outlook. We were able to go up on stage and sing and rock the house, to our best abilities. And that was awesome.
It was cool. I mean, you talk about promotion, everybody's trying to promote. Some people are trying to promote for financial gain.
Exactly.
And things like that. And then you got people that are just trying to promote their art, and that's beautiful too. And then you see the promotion of culture. Yeah. And I don't care how you look at it, it is there. That's what's happening. I know for us, for me, it was a proud thing to be out there with our group, with the youngsters, and to know that this is something positive for them. And that they're going to be able to look back and be like, because we are underrepresented when it comes to like getting a bunch of natives together. We're always underrepresented. You always have the Plains, you always have the Great Lakes regions, you have, the Southwest, but, what about the West Coast? What about the Cali natives? We're always kind of underrepresented. And so it's like, okay, here's a situation where there is the opportunity of all nations to be represented. And where's our representation? So for us to carry that banner, it was really an honor to do that. And I know I did my best, and I could see in the kids that, they kind of understood that a little bit, and I felt like they also, they rose to the occasion, and it was cool. And it was just cool to see other groups. The Apaches were dancing around, as I said. You had Hopi groups. You had the Aztec out there.
Aztecs.
Oh, dude, at the grand entry, you hear, and then Ruben Little says, oh, you can't blow your concho shell in here.
That's hilarious.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. The Aztec dude looked like, what was I supposed to do? And then he's like, I'm just kidding.
I'm just messing.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. But it was just to see all those natives come together like that. It was a cool thing, I guess it lives up to its name, Gathering of Nations. I know there's controversy and all that kind of stuff, but, as we talked about going out there, we had to really think about it. But reality is, it's like, dude, I think we achieved what we said we were going to do, which was to represent as best we could, and to promote our culture, put that in the forefront, promote these youth, and let them, experience that, man. I think we did a good job with that.
Yeah, it's something that, obviously we hope that we continue to do, whether it be Gathering Nations, whether, we just want to promote, our culture, and then obviously give an outlet for the youth to learn. And
hey, man, hats off to all the moms of the group.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Cook women, for just keeping everything in check and in line and safe and organized, and the fundraisers going in.
Oh, they did a lot.
And just doing a lot, all the moms and the wives and everything. And again, it was the kids who did it, they were out there taking a chance, and it's got to be nerve-wracking to be in front of all these people, but they stood proud, so I feel good about it, man.
Me too, man. Hopefully we'll go next year.
All right.
Should be planning something like that.
I got it, man. I got to get that sweatshirt. 30% off.
30% off.
2 years is 50% off.